A young teenager man named Roger comes home from his boarding school and spends his summer at his father's villa. Roger interacts with a number of sensual or sexually dissatisfied women as his puberty hits him hard. After initial failures, he finally hit pay dirt and slept with all the women in the mansion. Then problem arose when Roger impregnated the housekeeper, his aunt, and his sister. Hello, my dear family. This is Simba Recaps. Today we have brought you the most popular movie called What Every Frenchwoman Wants, which was released in 1986. My family, please help us by liking the video and by subscribing to the channel. Stay connected for more movies like this. The story begins with a young teenage boy, Roger, coming home from school for the holidays. Roger is on a carriage and is accompanied by a woman who works on the farms that provide food for the mansion. He is spending his holiday at his father's villa, but there are other guests sharing the house with him. Roger continuously looks at the woman whose garments do little to conceal her breasts. This makes Roger so excited since puberty has hit, and like any other 16-year-old, he is quite determined to explore his sexuality. The woman, La Pelle, notices how Roger looks at her, but she ignores it, blaming it on hormones. When the carriage reaches the mansion, Roger is received by many women who are part of his extended family. He meets his mother, who wonders why Roger's pants are wet. Roger is highly embarrassed since he had gotten a little carried away earlier, but his Aunt Margaret comes to rescue him. She chides her sister, saying that teenage boys are like that. Roger is happy to see his family, especially his little sister, Bert. The two were close in age and have always enjoyed each other's company, since most of their interests are so similar. Roger settles in the house peacefully, happy to be away from school. At night, Bert sneaks into his room, and the two siblings gossip. The next day, Bert takes Roger to nearby woods so that they can explore as they used to. Bert spots a butterfly, and she is in the process of trying to catch it when Roger is startled by a leper. La Pelle explains that she was fetching some vegetables and fruits for the house. However, Roger is very distracted as his attention is focused elsewhere. After La Pelle leaves, Roger goes looking for his sister. In the process, he trips and falls. Roger goes to get up, but he hears some moaning noises coming from the bushes. Further investigations reveal Ursula, a busted maid from the mansion, getting busy with a man right there in the bushes. She locks eyes with Roger's, and the poor boy runs away terrified. Certainly not a great sight for a virgin boy. However, this is just a start since Roger soon realizes that everybody in the house is doing something to set their needs. He witnesses another younger maid, Helene, delivering tea to someone. Before she can make it out the door, that person grabs her and takes her from behind. She fights a little, but she allows it. Roger watches as the two adults indulge their fantasies before Helene tidies up and leaves. Later that night, Bert sneaks in again and reveals that the only person in the house that is a virgin is their Aunt Margaret. Apparently, she is so scared of the thought of sex that she is repulsed by men and hence unmarried. The next day, Bert reveals her naughty side after she takes Roger to the riverbanks. She reveals that all the maids of the house come bathe at the river, and she has a spot where she spies on them. The two climb a tree and stay hidden just as some maids approach the river. The maids undress and begin bathing while talking about their various escapades. Soon several men come to the river as well. They notice the maids across, and the men urinate in the river, showing off their impressive tools to the women. A while later, Roger's father comes home accompanied by Roger's elder sister, called Elisa. She is very beautiful, but she is timid and quiet. She greets everyone in the mansion with a hug, but only gives Roger a peck on the forehead. Roger is disappointed because he wanted the hug too. Meanwhile, Bert cooks something up. She dragged Roger to Margaret's room, and the two enter the ceiling through an event. They approach the confessional box, where Margaret usually confesses her sins to the priest. Margaret reveals that while she has always feared men, she has found herself being attracted to Roger ever since he came home. She has fantasies about him, and even dreams of being intimate with him. Roger is overjoyed to find that his aunt has fantasies about him, and unfortunately his joy is short-lived when the ceiling crumbles, causing Roger to fall directly in front of the priest. The priest and Margaret report Roger to his mother, who wonders what the ideal punishment for the nosy boy would be. The priest suggests that Roger be whipped for his bad behavior, and Margaret agrees to do it. She whips Roger on the back for a while, leaving him terribly sore. In his room, Roger is lying on his stomach. When Bert comes in, she laughs at his ordeal, so Roger sends her away. A while later, Roger hears the rhythmic thudding of a cup. He investigates and finds that Helene is receiving some action from the same mystery man that she was earlier. Roger desperately wants to know who the man is, so when Ursula comes along to nurse his wounds, Roger asks her. Ursula laughs and says that everyone knows who the man is, but they will not tell him as it is a secret. Roger decides to ask his Uncle Frank about it. He finds him with his hands in his pants while staring at something on the telescope. When Frank hears Roy Roger approaching, he quickly stops his activities and leaves the room. Roger approaches the telescope and notices that Frank was looking at a couple dancing naked in the yard. Frank had also left behind a book that Roger quickly takes. He sees that it is a very dirty adult book. Roger is intrigued and he begins reading it. He is still skeptical of being found out, so he does it secretly. One day, Roger is reading the book in the barn when a male worker approaches. Roger hides, so he is not found out. Helene comes in and starts feeding the horses through the window. The male worker closes a hatch, which causes Helene to be trapped, and the male worker takes advantage of her. Roger wants to help, but Helene stops him since she likes what the man is doing. Roger goes to Elisa's room and replaces her regular book with the adult one. He spies on her reading the adult book, feeling delighted at giving her a taste of pleasure. That night, Roger realizes that everyone in the house is indulging in carnal activities except for him. He decides to change that and heads to the kitchen, remembering Helene. He grabs Ursula, intending to take advantage, but the older woman smashes a plate on his head. However, she apologizes and feels sorry for Roger, so she decides to get intimate with him. Unfortunately, the two are interrupted before they can do anything, and Roger runs away scared. Roger approaches La Pelle, who agrees to have sex with him, but once again the two are interrupted by the postman, who announces that all men will have to join the army, since World War I has begun. The next few days are sad for Roger since everyone spends time with their partner, while Roger can just watch. Soon a party is held to send off the man, and Roger is left at the mansion with Frank, who claims to have asthma. Bert takes Roger to eavesdrop on their mother's confession. She is worried about being intimate with her husband, as he makes her do many positions, and she feels that they are committing sin. The priest assures her that she can do whatever she pleases with her husband. Later, Roger is swimming when he notices a maid reading a book by the river. He approaches her and scores. Following his two successful encounters, Roger is confident enough to approach Margaret and offer to show her that there is nothing to fear in men. Within a few weeks, Roger is making love with everyone in the mansion, the maids, his aunt, and even his sister Elisa. Soon every woman in the mansion, except his mother, lines up to get serviced. The young man enjoys himself so much that he even lets 3 women in at a time. All great things come to an end, and soon the men return home from war. Roger is relieved that his manly duties are done, but his relief is cut short when the consequences of unprotected lovemaking are revealed. Ursula, Margaret, and Elisa are pregnant, and Roger knows that if his mother finds out what he did, then he is a man. So he comes up with a quick plan. He tells Margaret to get intimate with Frank so that he can assume responsibility for the child. He also paints Elisa's sheets with red nail polish so that when she gets intimate with her man, he will believe that she is a virgin. The last person on his list, Ursula, is engaged to a village man, and the 3 women get married. Roger's troubles are over. Helena also reveals that she is pregnant. Roger decides that he should get Helene a husband. However, Helene reveals that she has been intimate with almost every man at the mansion, and all that she has to do is pin the child on whichever man she likes. And here the movie ends.
Children are divided into 2 groups. The offense.
The series starts with a voiceover narration in which a man narrates about a game that he played when he was a kid in his town.
The rules are simple.
He talks about how to play, what the rules are, and how to win the game.
In order to win, the attackers must tap.
The game is called the Squid Game.
In my town, we had a game called the Squid Game.
Attention! The second game will begin shortly.
In the second game, the players are to pick a stamped shape out of a dalgona.
For the final game, you'll both be playing Squid Game.
The 6th and final game is the Squid Game, with Gi-hun on offense and Sang-woo on defense. Gi-hun easily completes the first few stages of the game, throwing sand into Sang-woo's eyes to distract him and crossing the squid's middle.
I can't forgive you for everything you're doing.